Some of the symptoms of a defective blower motor are that when the control is in the dehumidify mode or fan on position, the blower does not run, or the blower is very loud or creates a vibration noise, or the blower runs at a very low speed and very low airflow is being blown out of the unit. In order to remove the cover, slide the cover forward slightly, pull up the clip on the rear, and pull it out of the tabs in the front. The next step is to turn the humidity control knob all the way to the off position and ensure that the fan switch is in the auto position so that the dehumidifier shuts off. Next, turn the fan switch to the on position. Verify that the fan is running by feeling the discharge air on the back of the unit to make sure air is blowing out. The tools required for replacing the blower assembly on the Santa Fe RX dehumidifier are a cordless drill with a 5/16 hex bit or a 5/16 hex driver, a flat blade screwdriver, side cutters, a wire strippers, a channel locks, and some extra materials would be one blue wire nut and some zip ties. The first step to replacing the blower motor on the Santa Fe RX is to unplug the dehumidifier and remove the outer cabinet from the unit. In order to remove the cover, slide the cover forward slightly, pull up the clip on the rear, and pull it out of the tabs in the front. To remove the rear cover on the Santa Fe RX dehumidifier, start by removing the 6 Phillips screws with either a Phillips screwdriver, a plus style screwdriver, or cordless drill with a number 2 Phillips bit. Just to speed things up, I'm going to use a drill. To remove the outer cabinet, remove the 6 Phillips screws located on the inside behind the rear cover. To remove these screws, you'll either need a Phillips screwdriver or drill with Phillips bit, and also a 11/32 socket or needle nose pliers to grab a nut behind each screw. Next, grab each side of the cabinet and pull out toward the outside of the machine and push back toward the front of the unit and slide the cabinet off. Once you have the cabinet removed from the Santa Fe RX dehumidifier, locate the blower assembly in the rear of the dehumidifier. Next, you'll remove any zip ties that are holding the wiring portion of the blower assembly, just with a pair of side cutters. Next, we're going to disconnect the wires for the blower assembly. First, find the black wire on the blower motor and where it ties into the black wire feeding up to the fan control, and cut the terminal connector. Next, we'll go ahead and rotate the unit around to the rear. locate the white neutral wire coming from the blower assembly where it plugs into the fan capacitor and unplug that. Next, what you want to do is remove these foam air diverters from the airstream. They're basically just pushed into place into the foam with little foam tabs. You just want to note how they're installed so that when you reinstall them, they go back in the same way. One big one in front here, and then a smaller one and a larger one located to the rear. Just pull up on the bottom there, slide them out. Located in the far back area there, you'll see a screen, which is the blower outlet there, and there are 4 5/16 hex screws that go through the screen which hold the blower assembly in place. Now you can either use a 5/16 nut driver to remove those, or a drill with a 5/16 hex bit in it. Just to speed things up, I'm going to go ahead and use the drill. There's also some washers behind these screws. Two on the bottom and then 2 on the top. Next, go back to the rear of the dehumidifier here. And this clear vinyl hose just push over to the top here, and just kind of have to wiggle a little bit, but the blower assembly will come loose out of the machine. Next, you'll want to remove the 4 clips that are right around the mounting flange on the blower assembly. The easiest way is to use a flat blade screwdriver, get under the clip, and work it right off there. Next, you want to go ahead and install your clips on your new blower assembly. There's actually 2 different types of blower assemblies that we use. This new style that we have has a flush mount motor, but you may have a blower assembly inside your unit which has a motor hanging on the outside of the machine. To reinstall the clips, what you want to do is just slide them back over the flange, same way they were. And you can use a channel locks to help push them on. You want to also make sure that when you slide the clip on, that the hole on the flange lines up with the hole on the clip. Next, go ahead and slide the new blower assembly in so that it is facing the outlet side down at the bottom. Just route it in past the drain hose assembly. Next, you want to push one of your screws into the opening, and you want to try to reach around on each side to line up the first screw. Once you've got one screw installed, go ahead and install the remaining 4 using a 5/16 drill or 5/16 nut driver. Tighten them up. Now that you got the new blower assembly installed and screws are secured tightly there, the next step is to move on to the rewiring the blower assembly. First you want to go ahead and grab the black wire from the blower assembly, and you want to cut the terminal connector off the end of the wire. The black wire that you would cut initially when removing the old assembly, you want to go ahead and, using a wire strippers, strip the wire back so that you have about 3/8 to 1/2 inch of wire exposed, and then do the same with the black wire on the blower assembly itself. Go ahead and make your wire connections by using just a blue wire nut, by holding wires together, putting wire nut over the top, and screwing it in place. Then on the rear of the dehumidifier, go ahead and take the white neutral wire from the new blower assembly and plug it into the run capacitor where you had disconnected the wire initially. Next, you want to go ahead and reinstall the foam air diverters the same way that you took them out. Once the air diverters are back in position, go ahead and reinstall the outer cabinet, and that completes the blower replacement. Next, I'll be showing you how to reinstall the cover on the Santa Fe RX. One thing just to note after any repair was done is to just make sure that nothing is sticking out past the back of the machine, especially copper tubing. If so, just kind of slightly push back in toward the inside of the unit. With the cover, on the top is a lip which rests on top of the dehumidifier. Just make sure that that sits on there, and then the cover obviously slides apart in order to get it around the machine. Get the lip on that side, pull it up on the sides of the machine, push it into place, and then reinstall your 6 Phillips screws where you'd removed them before. Again, you can either use a Phillips screwdriver or a drill with Phillips bit. I'm just using the drill to speed up the processing. Next, we'll be reinstalling the rear cover with the 6 Phillips screws. Next, go ahead and install your top cover by lining up the holes on the bottom of the cover on the top pillars here, and then snapping in the catch in the back of the dehumidifier. Once it's in place, go ahead and slide it back and snap it into position.